Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. It's time for Moon Shadows, and I'm here with my one and only Ona. Hi, Ona.
Hi. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love moon shadows. I love talking about all the cool stuff that's going to happen during this full moon. Oh, this is new moon.
New moon, yes.
Second
Yeah.
one.
I kept calling it a full moon too. The interesting, of course, this is the second new moon in Aries. We
Right.
had one at the first degree, and now we're having one at the last degree. And there was a lot of things that happened in between those degrees.
Yes.
Um, and and then eclipses are always about unexpected shifts and changes, change
Yes.
in power shifts.
And
And
it's going to be something to recognize, right? Because
yeah,
if they're all squaring Pluto at the same time.
that's right.
We just moved
That's
into
right.
Aquarius.
That's right. That's
He's adjusting his judge robe, right?
right. And then as right this as the moon moves into Taurus shortly after the eclipse, and then the sun moves into Taurus, it's squaring Pluto.
Okay. That is such a good point because I notice that when the moon is in Taurus, I tend to be clunky. I trip more. I drop stuff. So the sun and the moon are moving into Taurus. I think that's a good reminder. I might have to set an alarm.
I'm thinking all of that like really intense Aries energy, like getting planted in the ground, like woof,
Yeah.
right down in the ground. Um,
Meteors. Ooh, interesting.
what did you, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Meteors.
Oh, well, I think there might be also a seismic. And the path of the eclipse goes right through like Jakarta, that area, Indonesia, very
Yeah.
highly active Pacific Rim stuff, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told you I have a friend that's staying here. She's from Sacramento and they've gotten more snow than they ever had in the Sierras. And right now they're okay. But if it's a rapid snow melt, they're literally screwed.
Yeah, I know.
So if that's happening as well as the melt all down that area and these kinds of things, we're just seeing water levels go.
I think maybe because of the fiery energy. I don't know about like I know you live in the city, but we've had a lot of fires here, which is unusual. You don't hear about fires here. A lot of fires.
We've had fire after fire after fire. I did do a little video last week and it has been persistent in the background. And because I've sort of plugged into that, I notice every news piece, there's like a pallet fire. They just like seem like they're erupting everywhere. Yeah. And I also noticed Mars is in
Cancer.
Cancer, so like tsunami-ish almost, right?
Could be, yeah.
In the water.
We'll look at the chart and we'll you want to look, we can look at it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
At it. So I have a couple of slides that we can look at together. Part of it, of course, is the actual chart, but let me go to where it starts here. Come on now. Here we go. All right. So this is from I just have to make it into a slideshow so it's you can see it
I
better.
remember this from the weekly.
Yeah, the weekly. I added a few slides though, so
Is it yes, it is a 4 or 5 of wands. It depends on where you
it
are.
depends on where you are. That's right. So for me and for the United States, because I live on the East Coast, and if we use Washington, D.C. as for the United States, it's happening in the 31.4 vibration. But for you, it's 30, is it?
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
it's on the 19th.
It's really over
So
3.
for you, it's Jupiter energy. And for here on the East Coast, it's a Mars energy. Because the 30/3, which would be the vibration of the day that the eclipse is for anybody central time and west of that, right?
Yeah.
It happens, and that's located here. Um, and of course, Jupiter is in Aries right now, right? And then for us, on the East Coast, it happens on the 20th, and we have it associated with Mars. And this is the place of instant karma.
Yeah.
This is a lot of Mars in Cancer is not an easy place for Mars to be. It can be there can be some passive aggressiveness with Mars in Cancer, resentments, holding on to resentments, not being willing to, emotional stuff, not letting go of hurts. Cancer, can be like that a little bit. But we have to release the past. We don't have it. I mean, we're not going to be given a choice, really.
Yeah.
We're not going to be given a choice. So the Sabian symbol for 30 degrees of Aries is ducks, a duck pond and its brood, the realization of natural boundaries. So this is very interesting. I like his commentary. This is from Dan Rudger's book, Sabian symbol 365 degree, 360 Mandela. I don't know. I have the book.
Yeah.
Even know the name of it, but I use it every day. It's a long name, but anyway, everybody knows it because I always show it. But he says what is shown here is that every form of activity has its limits, and that even the consciousness that has been able to get a glimpse of universal order has to bring down to its own karmic field of operation the message of harmony it has heard inwardly. Peace and inner contentment with one's essential destiny or dharma is required to meet the everyday world. The mystic may experience flights of imagination and a transcendent vision, but he must return to the concrete earth and do his task in his social environment. So this sounds to me like a call to the light, right? A call to living your and being your mystical experience, your, what you have gleaned through. And we've had plenty of time um, to think about our lives and sort of sit back and, a lot of people have been prevented from living a normal quote unquote life or the kind of life they were used to. We had a lot of opportunity to think about things,
Yeah. It's
right?
an interesting point in the stage of grieving also, as we're starting to close down the panic of the pandemic, right? I visited 2 hospitals today. One of them, a very large one, no longer you're required to wear masks. And the other one, which is about 100 beds, people still wearing masks. So we're in a place where we're trying to manage our grief.
It's funny because I went on Netflix the other night. I've been so busy I haven't really had time to like watch Netflix. It's usually one of those things when you have like a day or two and you want to binge watch something. But they have a 3-part series on the Boston marathon bombing,
Yeah.
which happened 10 years ago in 2013. And I only watched there's 3 episodes. I only watched the first one so far, but it brought it all back. And you don't realize sometimes when you're in the experience of it, just how traumatic it is.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
how traumatic it is. And I remember just feeling like at the time, just like so sorry for the kids that did it, honestly. I mean, I was sorry for everybody, but I had this like, I don't know, weird motherly compassion for
Mhm.
the boys that perpetrated it, and just, I don't know, it's just, it kind of, reminded me of how crazy it was back then. But when you're in it, you're just like, yeah, okay, well, you don't realize it. I don't know. You have the grace of shock and, shock, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's keep going here because
Sorry about the drag racing outside.
oh, they do. Oh, well, what a perfect way to celebrate the new moon in Aries. Although if I were them, I'd slow down, but that's
Yeah,
just me.
yeah.
So we do have this the new moon. So I always look to see what the ruler, right, is doing and where it's sitting. And the ruler of Aries, of course, is Mars, and we have Mars at 14 degrees of Cancer, which incidentally is on the United States sun. A very old man facing the vast dark space of the Northeast. I live in the Northeast, so
Yeah.
anyway, the fulfillment in transcending and the fulfillment in transcending and changeless wisdom. Says this symbol describes the old wise man, an archetypical figure found in all systems of symbolism.
This is the hermit.
Huh?
Sounds like the hermits.
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. In occult terminology, the Northeast is the direction from which spiritual cosmic forces enter the earth sphere. The wise old man faces the changeless reality, the true north, which for us is located in the northeast direction. He faces the great void that appears, that apparent darkness, which is intense light invisible to our senses. And the key word is the permanence of truth. I think that we just have to have faith, really, right, in the belief in if we are our best selves, that it's going to make a difference,
Yeah.
honestly.
In your own truth.
And that's like so Aries anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. I have a couple more things here to look at here. Oops. Went right over it.
So charged. This
It's
is
so it's a north node. So this is the United States. This is the eclipse for Washington, D.C.
okay.
And one of the things I did not put in here, but is right between the sun, moon, and Jupiter is Eris.
Yes.
So Eris is also part of this eclipse. And that energy of Eris is an energy that does not like to be uh, uh, they don't Eris doesn't appreciate injustice, even though she's considered to be a troublemaker. But I think she's really only a troublemaker to the people in power who want to keep themselves powerful and us powerless. I don't know if part of this eclipse might have something to do with Fox and Dominion, which is
Yeah.
interesting. Just those two names alone. Dominion is the word associated with the emperor, right? And the emperor
Yeah.
is associated with Aries.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a shift in power. It could be, the tumbling down of what's his name? Murdoch,
Yeah.
right? Could be Rupert Murdoch. I don't know what sign he is. It could be him, it could be just a shift in power dynamics. We know that Macron in France is under a lot of pressure. Any of this could really, things
Yeah.
could go sideways. It's easy enough. It's easy enough. So anyway, this is the North Node. We get propelled into the unknown future. The eclipse is conjunct Jupiter and square Pluto. Because Pluto is square the nodes, of course, the resolution node is still the south node. So even though we're moving to the forward, there's this energy of our souls drawing us back to the past and then sort of like catapulting us into the future.
It is
So
like the last call, right? Before the
yeah,
new
it's called
node,
Falcon.
and before the node shift in July, it's kind of like the last call. Like that's it, and you said a new catapult, like that's it, bar's closing.
Well, the interesting thing about this eclipse and then the sun and the moon both going into the first degree of Taurus, there's Jupiter is going to be going into Taurus soon. it's in Aries now, but it's gonna move through Aries pretty quickly now, and it's going to go into Taurus, and that happens in May. And we have that grand, we talked about this in class, there's this grand cross with Pluto and the nodes and Jupiter, and it's just like crazy intense, and we'll see what that means. But this, in the United States chart, the eclipse is in the fourth house. That's the homeland, right?
I know.
That's the homeland. Mars in the house of open enemies. Okay, let's keep looking. This is the US chart in the middle. This is the Sibley chart. And this is the Aries chart around it. Here's Mars sitting on the sun. Oh, I must have done that. I don't know. I must have moved it. Anyway, there's the sun. There's Mars. Chiron opposite Saturn. Pluto, of course, is conjunct Pluto because we're still in the Pluto return. It's not that far away. And it's going to, come back into Capricorn and go back. Doesn't actually touch it, but it goes back enough. And we have the sun and the moon, which should be here, square Pluto. So we have the square, we have oppositions, we have conjunctions. There's a big change coming in this country.
Yeah.
Now, this is the path of the eclipse.
Yeah, I saw this on that video, the weekly. So this is what you would be able to visually to see it in the sky because it's a lunar eclipse, right?
Solar.
You have to wear your special.
Solar. So when it's solar, it's a very small, like this is the path of totality, the darkest part.
Yeah.
And then this is like the partial stuff, but it's going over China, it's going over Taiwan, it's going over Korea, it's going over this Indonesian area, which is, the Aceh 2004, right? Tidal wave is kind of connected to this series because it was 19 years ago, right?
I was just gonna say, you said 2004, right?
Yeah.
That was 19 years ago. So same stretch. Very interesting.
Very
Mars
interesting,
in
right?
Cancer plunging into the water.
And you were talking about, I don't know, did you say tidal wave before we got on or after we got on? Before, right? And when we were just talking about what we were going to say, you were talking about tidal waves.
Yeah.
So this is, and Aries is cardinal. It's about like starting something new. It's an initiation. We're going through an initiation. I think that's all I have. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let me just get out of this. All right. So
looking at charts like that, the way planets or whatever is sort of laying over, it feels it's so much easier for me to understand what I'm feeling.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it does. It's
where to stay away from.
Well, I'm not going to Indonesia anytime soon, so I think I'll be okay, but
I'm going to cancel that trip. I'm going to say next year. But really, I think it's important because, the Victorian field is all earth and grounded and magnetic, right? And the area is charged.
Yes, we're
It's
quite charged.
Field.
Yeah, it's like the plasma.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a whole like theory around the protoplasmic universe, that we're like in a medium and it's protoplastic. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That electricity is actually protoplasm. But I think it's called the electrical universe. I'm probably saying it all wrong. So if anybody out there knows the real story, you can share it in the comments.
Yeah, poke through the bowl of Jello. We're down
there. So what have you been smelling, my dear?
Well, I told you I had a CAT scan this morning, and when they started the iodine, everything sort of tastes like beer. Not sort of, but like the foamy part. And I don't even drink, so it's disturbing. And I had tears in my eyes at one point because I'm like, you know what, this is enough. Like, stop already. I'm tired of this. Nothing tastes good. It tastes like the foamy head of beer, bitter beer, like Guinness. I could see like the stuff in it right now. I had an iodine, injection. That's what I started tasting this. But when we were talking pre-show, dandelion root or dandelion tea is actually a good kidney tonic.
Yep.
And the iodine that they give me for the CT is renal toxic. So I sort of solved my own problem by creating the beer flavor when I'm in a CAT scan. But I think the bitter thing, just even that the whole idea of it is just probably to maybe watch as we're trying to process our pond, right?
Right, right. Whereas what's our field of influence? We
Yeah,
have to be the best in our field of influence,
yep,
you know, in our ponds. Yeah.
yeah. Just like the ducks, the little baby ducks.
So have any stones struck your fancy?
The ones I did, and I mentioned also, were I'm cleaning out my garage and I found a bag from like the 90s, like old stuff that I used to use and burn. And, Jupiter just moving into Aries, and yeah, it's whipping through. It's really whipping through quickly. I thought this was like the appropriate pack of stones for the new moon. So malachite, which is for when Taurus starts to, it's so right at the edge there. You want grounding stuff, but you want to like, soak in whatever's left of this last moon in Aries for the year.
Well, malachite is connected to the solar plexus, which in the tree of life, that's the Mars, path of Mars. So it makes total sense to me.
I,
Malachite.
right. And that crazy. I found this, like, I forgot I had it. I found some sodalite, raw sodalite.
Yeah.
I always love,
So
right?
that's for the journey.
Raw azurites.
I love I love raw azurite.
It's really
That's
delicate.
azurite is for third eye insight.
Yes. It's so soft, it will leave residual pretty much anytime you touch it. So you don't even have to put the stone on you. You could just touch the
Just rub
stone,
it and then rub it.
do whatever you need to do with it. Like,
And if you have protection oil, you probably should douse around a little bit of that, I would say.
and yep,
Aries energy.
I definitely do the protection. And another moonstone that I thought I lost. So it was kind of this really neat pack, a tiger eye that I had. It was just a little mojo bag. And also, as the sun, we can, ask that, and the moon will be in Taurus, that it's a good time to give back to the earth or thank it. Thank you. You're awake now, you know, and offered something. So all the eggshells that I ground up from the ovomancy, ashes from incense, I'll put outside my house, the greenhouse. I'll have 5 little, just kind of like thanking it for this was the harvest of last year, to recycle it back.
Yeah.
That's my
All
plan.
right. So, and do we want to say anything? Is there anything else that we talked about that we haven't brought up yet?
I don't remember. I know with our turkey things came up. What is turkey
Right.
energy? What is
Turkey, yeah.
what?
It's called giveaway. I know it's giveaway. I think it's sacrifice.
It's
They
got
make
to be sacrifice. That falls right in line with the turkey's pretty much, progressed journey.
Turkey medicine. Let's ask Google.
Turkey tail, mushroom, fermenting. The fermenting thing is
I
really,
have one in my yard. I have one in my yard. It's an old one from last year, but it's there. I leave it there. Okay. I'm trying to click
I
on
did
this one.
recently buy lion's mane. What else? And I had some I'm not gonna say it right, ashwagandha, some other mushroom metabolite or something that I had in my cabinet, because I'm cleaning out my cabinets and they're about to expire. So if I find it, I'm like, all right, then I must need it for something. So maybe
Well,
that's giving me that fermented yeasty kind of.
well, I think mushrooms are a great thing to eat because
Yeah.
they help mushrooms connect us.
Yeah.
Plus, it's healthy for the nervous system, right? And everybody is frazzled. Everybody. You can't see what's going on right now and not be, And we talked about that too, of some people have to see what's going on, and it's okay to see what's going on. You just can't let what's going on like drag you into a place that you're not gonna be your best person that
Right.
you have to be. So it says turkey is a spirit animal closely associated with honoring nature and the earth, a symbol of abundance. Totem animal encourage us to honor our sources of nourishment, whether they are physical, emotional, or spiritual. The turkey reminds us to develop a harmonious relationship with the land and our environment and consider that as foundations to our well-being and sustenance. The turkey totem is a powerful guide to unlocking the fullness of life and feeling content with what we have instead of accumulating material belongings to seek happiness. It says abundance, connection with the earth, blessings from the earth, forms of nourishment, harvesting the fruits of your efforts and your work, importance of community, the generosity, sharing, and having enough in our life.
Yeah, it's an earth thing. It's
Yeah.
more of an, I know it's the very last degree of Aries, but they feel more, it's got more earth messages, than
Ben
fiery.
Franklin wanted the turkey to be the national bird,
Oh, why not?
right?
Yeah.
And they said no, it's not noble enough. So they got the eagle. So instead of having it be something that was abundance, they wanted something that was like falling from the sky and
Yeah,
scooping fish
and swallows you whole.
up.
Yeah.
Well, if you've ever seen an eagle fly, you can understand why they picked it. I've seen turkey flies fly. It's like watching a 300-pound man try to lift off. And they do, and they make that noise. It's so cute.
My friend
But
was telling me the exact same story, that they gather around by the tree where these people feed to watch the birds try and get up into the tree. It's like a comedy show for them.
yeah, it would be like me trying to fly.
What? I don't know if I've ever seen a turkey really fly, but I like the idea about abundance there. And that should always be on every moon altar.
Yeah.
Any moon. Right.
All right. So anything else you want to chit chat about?
I don't know right now.
Like there's nothing coming to mind. I think what I want to say mostly is that the eclipses are always wild cards. So a lot of people are, afraid and saying things, and this is this, and it's the Anorette, the last degree, and but
Yeah.
it's just another, it's going to manifest the way it's going to manifest. We
You
have
know
to
what?
just sort of stay open and go with the flow, really.
Give us a window of awareness between midnight or between 10 o'clock East Coast time to 4 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time.
Yeah.
That we could say, just be aware, just a window of awareness where you might want to write something down, or something starts to itch on the top of your head, or what. Could be anything, no judge, right? Whatever is going on, and see how it's related, how it's related to later, because these are energies that not only have an archetype, but they have a physical effect. They vibrate through the spheres, right? There is a physical part to it too. We just can't see it. Trust me, I'm full of electrons. There's an effect. Even if
Well,
it's clear, there's an effect.
one of the things that, I think that Aries, because it's Mars ruled, and, people connect Aries with things like war, and of course Chiron's in Aries now. So this could be a huge healing of the wound. And Jupiter is conjunct Eris. Eris is that energy of, I'm no longer going to be silent. You're going to hear my voice. It can be very revolutionary. And I think that, like, there's all these people, like I was listening to a podcast, and I hate to bring him into this, but we'll just say there's some guy down south who's the governor of a certain state that sort of hangs out in the middle of the ocean. And we're not
My
going to.
Saturn runs right through that state. You know that.
What does?
My Saturn runs
Oh,
right through there. Right
yeah.
down.
Well, don't go there. So
Oops.
unless you want to work really, really hard. So that's not a bad thing necessarily, but
Some
you don't want to live there. You don't want your life to be drudgery on your Saturn line, right? So, but I was like listening, and I'm like, all the stuff that they're pulling, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wait. No, 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 no. No means no. It's what is that? Oh my God. Me too. Me too movement. No means no. Now we know no means no. We're telling you no.
Yeah.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough. And that's Eris too. She's the pissed off feminine.
Yeah.
And Black Moon Lilith is at like 12 degrees of Leo, which is right around the North Node of the United States. So and the
And
other thing,
I think these things that so that they sound horrible, like these, DeSantis and everybody, it really strengthens.
yeah,
The bad press actually is good for the company because it actually strengthens. So all these, like the drag queen, all the stuff about the drag queens things going on, you can't go to, there's no drag shows. And I'm like, and then like all the memes start coming up, it actually strengthens the drag community.
well, it's like the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. If you help the butterfly by cracking open the chrysalis before the butterfly can do it itself, it comes out and falls to the ground because it can't
Right.
fly. It's our challenges that give us the strength to fly. And let me tell you, girlfriend, between you and me and everybody I know, there's been enough challenges. We're going to be a bunch of butterflies just flitting around out there. The other thing I would just want to mention as we kind of wind this up is that, eclipses are scary, Aries is scary, but Aries is about living.
Yeah.
It's about being. It's about being yourself. And so be yourself, whatever that means, right?
Mhm.
And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do yourself. You
Right.
have to be yourself.
And think about, like, I'm looking at your shirt, and that is one of the first colors that babies recognize is red. So anything you could do for your new moon eclipse that's red, you just go ahead and knock it out of the park right there. It is, because it's the first thing, it's one of the first colors, right? That's the first color you see is red, and the contrast of it.
Right. Well, this has been real as always, Ona.
Yep.
So we're going to say sayonara. I think that's goodbye, right? And we'll see you for moon for moonshine. That's going to be in 2 weeks.
Yes, moonshine, they'll be good. It'll be a good moonshine.
Yeah, and it's another eclipse, right?
Oh, the lunar one. Oh, so much fun.
The unfurling of the seeds planted at the new moon,
Okay. Yeah.
and then connect it back to 2004, 2005, that time frame. Coming round again, coming round again.
This theme is coming back to me. I do have one thing I'm gonna say. I did get the Salvador Dali tickets at the Art Institute for May 11th, which is his birthday. That's what he was making me wait for.
Taurus.
Now I get it. And oh, I can't remember what else I was gonna say. What were you just mentioning?
That he's a Taurus.
The Salvador Dali tickets, and there was something else. I don't know. Honestly,
I was saying, no, it's about living. It's
Yeah.
about living, being yourself, and flying your freak flag. I mean, not literally, because sometimes it's dangerous,
Yeah.
but you can be who you want to be. You can be who you want to be.
Yeah.
It's nobody's business but your own, honestly. That's something else that I think Aries is really good at, is telling people to mind their own business. Mind your own beeswax.
Yeah.
And I'll mind my beeswax.
And I remember, and I don't want to stretch it out too long. It was about the year 2004 and what was significant at that time. This is the 20-year cycle of
The eclipse 19-year cycle of
the eclipse is 19-year cycle.
Metonic, I think it's called Metonic cycle.
Okay, so what was happening 19 years ago, that year, 2004, how will it run parallel to this new 19-year cycle?
Right.
Okay.
I think these cycles kind of build upon each other. And
Yeah.
so for me, 2004 was the year my father passed away. So it was the year that I lost my foundation, really. He was my foundation. And since then, in 19 years, I've had to sort of build my own.
Yeah.
And now it's time for me to stand on my own foundations, I think. I think that's what it means for me, among other things.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things. Yeah, that was big. This was 2004 was also Katrina.
It was Katrina. It was the year the Passion of the Christ came out, and it was that spooky kind of miracle stories were all over. The Virgin Mary was showing up in every rock and waterfall. I got pregnant that year. Right? Like it was a big year. So think about how that year ran and how this new 19-year cycle is going to close and open or continue.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, until we're going to move through the portal, and until we meet again, namaste.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.